The night.
You're the devil's son! You're the devil's son! You're the devil's son! You're the devil's son! You feel to show me something better than time goes out of your way to destroy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to horrornightoasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
I think so.
How are you doing, my friend? How did the Christmas season work out for you?
Well, it was pretty all right. Got a few things that I wanted, so
That's
pretty
good.
excited.
I'm glad everything went well and family went well. Same can be said on my end a little bit. Even though it's just easier to give me money and say, here, go get you what you want. But I digress. We are here to continue on our Christmas Murderland massacre or Christmas Murderland marathon. I got massacre in the title in my head because I was looking up a few things. And we are almost completed with this marathon. We're going to try to squeak out one more episode before the end of the year. And as mentioned last week, this one literally came out as soon, the day of we were doing last week's episode. And like, well, we could have done that one, but why not save it, hold off on it a week, and do it this week? And that's what we're doing. And I guess I could have expected more, but I kind of figured out, like, okay, they could have done more with the idea, but for what it is, it's fine. And that is our film tonight, The Naughty List of Mr. Scrooge. And again, as I said, going into it, I did expect a little bit more. They could have done more. Don't know how many times I have to say that. But the plot of the film is it's Tabby and her boyfriend Johnny are heading to a Christmas party with a bunch of Tabby's friends or acquaintances that she knew years prior. And they usually do this thing that they call the Secret Scrooge, or a Secret Santa, Dirty Santa, whatever you want to call it. But they call it Secret Scrooge. And they're just getting there, hanging out, drinking, partying, doing all that stuff. It's that old trope of a bunch of people coming together for a special occasion. It could be, again, Christmas, Thanksgiving, a wedding, a reunion, and then secrets start to unfold. You've seen that trope done numerous times, hundreds of times, and that's what this is. And secrets start to unravel, and there's a killer, a mass killer, in a whatever perspective of that holiday or reasoning is for the occasion. And this one, it's a old Scrooge mask, and so all the characters are butting heads and trying to figure out what's going on and why people are slowly dying off. And that is the gist of the story. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Again, I kind of mentioned it last week. They're like, oh, it's just going to be, it just feels like a slasher, and that's what it is. It's just your basic mediocre locked in a house slasher film
Yeah.
with 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 reasonings for everything slowly unwinding and things getting revealed, and um, the past, hidden things from the past coming to light. It's just the same old, same old. Not to say it's terrible. It's perfectly, like I said, it's perfectly mediocre. There's no, it's not bad. It's not good. It's right down the middle. It plays it safe, and it doesn't really do anything crazy. I mean, there's some okay moments with like the very first scene of the film where Scrooge is after the one girl that's like looking at the fish tank. The very first kill, like there's the scene where like he's holding her and it's like showing the back side of him, and he has the saw and like going back and forth. I like that aspect. I mean, I wish they could have done a little bit more throughout the film. Um, and like they could have played up on it because there's like they're doing the game of the secret Scrooge, and like they have all these like little gifts and gags and stuff like set up, and um like the dinner scene um with the head on the table, and like the rhymes on the Scrooge lists, rhyming stuff on the paper, and like they could have played it out a little bit like it's a game in a sense, instead of just being, oh, it's fairly obvious where it's going and it's exactly where it goes. Even the reveal before the reveal, like, oh, that's easy to see, um, because you've seen it done before. So, like I said, it's relatively the same stalk and slasher you've seen before. Um, but again, I didn't mind it. It's not. I really didn't find it boring either. It was just one of those where you're just playing the waiting game for 90 minutes because it's so obvious and so on the nose, where it's just like where everything ultimately leads, and the secrets that are revealed, or like you're just waiting. Like, I already know this. I see where it's going. It's just those, again, like like recently, not, I don't know how recent, but like the Easter Bunny Massacre films were exactly the same premise as this, but someone in an Easter Bunny outfit. And like Burlesque Massacre or Camp Utopia, just where people come together and like there's a killer among them, like underneath the ranks, like setting all this stuff into motion. And it's just not, again, it wasn't anything spectacular. It was fine. It was just as plain and generic as it was. I mean, it's cool to see a Scrooge killer. I mean, but I think there's a horror movie with like a Scrooge that should be, just like a horror Christmas Carol. I like to see that, of where like these ghosts are coming back and they're trying to kill him, instead of just like a random person in a Scrooge mask killing people for various reasons that happened in the past. But it's okay for what it was. It wasn't, again, anything amazing. But they could have done worse with it. But
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oof.
so, Ian, what's your thoughts?
They talked a lot.
You do.
They talked a lot. Um, I mean, I personally like was kind of bored by it. Like I fell into like after a certain point, I just was like, I kept like looking at how much time has passed, because I was like, are we going to get to the point anytime soon? Like, yeah, a couple people died, but it's like, the way it opens, I was like, okay, so this is hopefully like one of those movies that have a slow build. We're going to get, but like not too slow, like the way that it was. I thought the characters were all right. Definitely not as one dimensional as some of the movies we've watched, especially this, uh, marathon.
Yeah.
It wasn't like terrible, but it wasn't like something I think I'll ever watch again.
Yeah, because it's the premise that's been done to death. Like I said, like there's so many films that like I named on this episode already, and I can keep naming them. And, again, for someone like me that's watched a lot of like these lowbrow slasher movies, it's like generally like this. Like I can just name it off, and it's just like it's the most basic premise, just like with a new coat of paint and new skin. And it's
Yeah.
just like, again, for someone like you, where you saying like maybe like a handful, but it's more like I get the trope that it's setting up. I know the reveals pretty early on because it's the same reveals that happen like in Varsity Blood and all these other films. It's exactly like this, and
Yeah.
it's nothing new, and it's just as basic slasher premise as it is. But again, it's like, as I said, it's just mediocre with a brand new skin.
I was getting Thanksgiving vibes.
Yeah, I got that too. It's
Like it felt like they really drew inspiration from that movie. And
you know what else? Reunion from Hell Part 2.
yeah. So I mean, it's not terrible. Like I mean, the characters were shitty people. Like that was obvious, especially like the whole title of being Scrooged. You knew that these people were probably not going to be the best people in the world, but still, like, I wanted more. I wanted more, like, killing, I guess, or in more memorable ways.
Yeah, again, that's like the second time we've seen someone strangled with Christmas lights this marathon.
Yeah. Or at least this one made more sense.
Yeah.
She didn't foam at the mouth.
Yeah.
Her neck just kind of went. But
and again, I wish they kind of played into it a little bit more. Like I said, with like the severed head at the beginning, and then it goes into the dinner table scene later on. And I wish that like each Scrooge game, like he played up more on the game aspect, because like they get around the Christmas tree and they read the rhymes or riddles, and then like they could have done that to like sort of like hints at who the killer is, or like reasonings for stuff, and like they kind of get there, but not to the point where I would like it. And then like they use the next set of clues to unravel more secrets of the mystery until ultimately and then like use each person as who's dead as another part of as the next riddle or something. I don't know. There's just a lot of things he could have done which he just didn't do, and just like again made it the same old, and it didn't really do much. And like it's so, again, it's so obvious. Like I said, it's just like the most obvious like of obvious. Like there's no way. Like I'm sitting there like, really, we're gonna go this route. And even it just like did the whole like throw in another twist, which are like it's either it's gonna be both, and it is, it's like there's gonna be another reveal with that person, and just like you're just like I said, you're just waiting for the reveal to finally eventually unfold, and it's just like great. I was already at that point 90 minutes ago. Like we're at the end of the movie now, and like finally you get to the point where I was at. And just like I said, it's basic, it's simple, it's mediocre and plain. It's just like I said, it's nothing bad, nothing good. But they could have done a lot more with it. I have no idea why they didn't go to the lengths of like implementing more things, but for what it's plain Jane slasher film reasonings shit, nothing out of the ordinary. If you've watched a slasher movie, it's the exact same basic premise.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of people coming together, dark, something happened to their past, and their past is coming back to light for reasons unknown until it's eventually revealed, which you kind of already know, which is blaring you right in the eyes, like it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And you have friends that are kind of hunky-dory at the beginning, and then their friendship starts to implode, and they start questioning each other, and like, oh, you're the killer. No, you're the killer. And then like, no, it's obviously neither. But
Yeah. That's just, yeah, that's like one of the problems I had was just like there was not really much of a mystery involved, and like I felt like they could have, like you said, drummed up some of the mystery, the what's really going on, and you know instead of just like
wandering
dancing
around the
around.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, they were dancing around, like kind of like they weren't even being subtle hinting. It's like somebody saying something, and if like the only more obvious way they could have done it was like every time somebody said something, they could have turned at the camera and winked.
Yeah. It was like it's like the most obvious. Like it couldn't be Glenn. Glenn died unless it's a family member. And like, well, it's not obviously a family member because he's working at the bar. Like, I wonder who else could possibly be then that knows. Like, that's stupid. It's,
Okay, so I also hated the twist at the end. Like after the big reveal and like the why, I just was like, this could have been so much better. Like it could have been a much better reveal than this weak ass premise. And I just was like, okay, all right, that happened. So
yeah. How dare he get more attention over me? How dare someone die? Like, well, it's more important, dude. Like that was my big shot. How
yeah,
dare he?
like oh, it's just that right there was
It's like
just
that. It's like that movie Chop, where like the guy gets kidnapped and like he gets his body limbs start chopped off, and like you get to the reasoning for the like because the guy doesn't know the guy in general. Like I don't know you. I don't even know who you are. Or reasoning why, but I'm sorry whatever I did. And then you get to the real. It's supposed to be a joke. Like that's the whole point of Chop. It's a stupid joke for the reasoning because it's supposed to be like a parody. And like you get to the point reason like what happened and they show it and he just randomly bumped into him on the sidewalk like oh I'm sorry I go and then like you have this big ordeal of the previous movies he's just getting his arms chopped off. It's just like oh I bumped into you and it's like it's almost like that but this one's like even worse but it's played for seriousness. It's
yeah.
like
That
how dare he kill himself.
no, right?
Yeah.
And it just I was like, really? That's your big evil villain? Why you're doing this whole thing story? I was like, come on, dude, get a fucking grip. Like, oh no, I'm a better actor than you thought I was. It's like, bro,
That was
no,
my
you're
big
not.
break. People, the world was gonna see me, even though I'm in a shitty stage play in a town. I don't know.
Dude.
Like I said, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't. It was like I said, it was just mediocre. I mean, if you've seen one slasher film with this premise, you've seen it. It's just that. There's
Yeah,
nothing, no reasoning about it. It's like I said, just a group of people coming together. MacGuffin is revealed, and then mass killer ensues and starts killing them off one by one until his big reveal happens, and then you're just like, oh, okay, whatever. Even though I'm already there, I already knew who the killer was. Again, it wasn't like I said. I've seen too many films like this where it's just it doesn't phase me. Like like you said, it was boring to you. Like it didn't bother me because I've been there. I've seen too many films like that. So it's like perfectly average to me. I mean, like I said, it's better than some of the other ones on the marathon so far, but
yeah,
it's just perfectly bland and mediocre where it doesn't really bother me that much where it's just like whatever. It's sort of it's I wouldn't really say it's forgettable. It's just in a realm of mediocrity, where
yeah.
it's just into that C category where it's just like all the other films lay. Like they could have done more with it. Like I wish they did. played up on the Scrooge game aspect, and like had some fun with it and revealing things as it went along, or or just like in my head, like making it like a Christmas Carol horror movie with like Scrooge getting attacked by the ghosts, or like an actual old man killing young people for some reason, because like he doesn't like Christmas and he just doesn't want other people to celebrate it. So he goes around saying bah humbug and killing people with his cane. That would have been a good movie.
No, there's definitely a lot they could have done that I really wish they did. But you can only do what you got.
Yeah.
What they want what they give us. So, but I'm not I don't hate myself after watching this, and I didn't get mad at the film. So there's that.
Yeah.
Like what I did with Granny Krampus. I mean, I think this is also one of those movies that I think would be good for like beginner. Like I think anybody that has never really watched a whole lot of horror movies, this one isn't over the top violent. It's not over the top gory. So I think this would be a good starting point for someone within horror. Like, hey, you watched this and you liked it. Okay, well, here's this movie that's better.
It's like a Christmas Scream film.
Yeah.
In a sense, because that's a bunch of people trying to figure out what's going on, and then like something from the character's past coming back, biting them in the ass in a sense, and for like weird reasons. So I mean, technically, yeah, I can see that for a beginner. But again, I've watched. I don't know. It was fine. I mean, it's probably gonna rank up there, probably right in the middle, compared, unless whatever next week's before we finish our marathon, if another film like ranks higher above this one. But it's pretty, one of the better ones of the marathon, even though it's as basic and mediocre as can be. But still, it's nowhere near as bad as I thought it would turn out to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was expecting worse.
Yeah.
So, especially after seeing The Mask, I was like, oh God. I wish they would have done something like with like the three ghosts or something. Like did the ghost of Christmas, like past, present, and future, and like like have them torture them, like, and have them reveal their past and their present, and then like something, I don't know, like I think there's a lot that could have been done to kind of tweak this film up.
I mean, honestly, if we really break it down, I mean, there's a lot you could do for a Christmas Carol horror movie. Like, as we said, like have the ghosts come back and torment Scrooge in a horrific way, because we're already getting fucking Grinch and all that's in Winnie the Pooh. So might as well do a Christmas Carol while we're at it. Of like things, the ghosts are like decaying and decrepit, and just like each one, it doesn't matter. Christmas past, have him like look haggard and just like rotting, because he was a slave that worked himself to death, and he's just like has like all the ball and chains on him, and like they're attached like Cenobite stuff, like if you're a Cenobite, Hellraiser style, and then you can have like all these like they're just like weird, creatures in a sense, even though they're ghosts and spirits, but I have them like be demonic in a way, and like torture, Scrooge or something, and just like sort of like a, like Jim Goku or Japanese hell films, stuff like that, where like all these Japanese people are being sent to hell to see what the hell it feels like before going back to Earth, going back to their bodies. You get a snippet, Dante's Inferno type ordeal, and like all these layers of hell, but it's like Christmas related. And like you can do that, or as I said, have an actual old man who doesn't like Christmas kill people celebrating Christmas. It's sort of like a Silent Night, Deadly Night situation. Where it's like he's going after people celebrating Christmas. Um, so there's like a lot of things that could be done with this type of subject, but this one again, it's the most basic generic one, and there's a lot. I mean, who knows? Maybe next year, now that there's going to be more Scrooge horror films, and I'm sure one of those ideas, like again, like when the Mickey Steamboat Willie films came, and I gave you the one hint for my idea for like a film, and then like the next or one or two films after Mousetrap, it was like the exact same film that I pitched. It's like, well, someone took my idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're probably listening to us. They're stealing your ideas.
Yeah. I mean, we can do these on the spot. I mean, if people paid us, man, then we'd be like, give us some royalties for crying out loud for half the films we pitched. Because there's a lot of decent ones are like where films could lead and turn it into something else. But that, again, that's just us, just rambling. And sometimes our rambles are pretty good, Like, come on, man, just seeing an old man kill Tiny Tim. Come on, we need that. Kick his crutch out from underneath of him and just beat him to death with his crutch.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought the the last line was like tied the movie off pretty well. Which was like, God bless us, everyone. Like, really? I mean, I'm glad, that they're trying at least, but I just wish that it would have been better.
Yeah. Again, me, I just like obscene things, so I like that kind of ordeal. It's just like seeing like obscene acts involving children just play out, just like being mean spirited for no. Because again, that Scrooge is the ultimate mean spirited person, because he just hates everything holiday related. He's like the male equivalent of the Grinch. Like they could have done that and just like have him like just be the most selfish, obnoxious asshole in existence, and then like just like have no comeuppance, just like, no, you don't get the comeback. You're gonna go to hell, and then like that's where he gets tortured, at the end of it. Like, no, like you have no present. This is your present now. And then the Ghost of Christmas Present just sends him to hell. And then Satan welcomes him. Again, I'm just going down the rabbit hole of like shit I want to see for some reason, And then he just gets tortured for like the last 20 minutes by Satan. They're like, this is what you think of this,
Well, I think, they definitely could have played this up a hell of a lot better than what they did. But, I mean, other than the movie, I think it was pretty nicely shot. It had a nice, camera. Sound wasn't too bad.
Like I said, they set up a lot of scenes that were not, like you said, like the beginning shot with the back side and like sawing the girl's head off. And then like there's some scenes where like he's like, the dinner table scene's pretty good. And, some of the other, I don't want to get into spoilers still, but like there's some other shots that look good. Again, they could have, played up more with the kills because the one, Julian, when he's going out to the car and he just gets his legs, ankles slit open and just like neck snapped. Like that was kind of lame. They could have done more. They could have done the whole Winnie the Pooh scene where he gets in the car and just drives him over, but they don't. They could have done something interesting instead of just like, oh, he's out in the driveway with his ankles split open and his neck snapped. He didn't even do anything festive for the kill. I like I don't know, just some of the other scenes are just like kind of blasé.
Yeah, considering of what it could have been.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just like it was just they introduced that game and they don't even do anything with it. And then they just like right there was your calling card and you don't even do anything. Like you
Yeah.
could have played up on that idea and it would have been received much better and you still got to the same point. Just like play up the game, play up like each death means something, even though they don't technically, but still, like each death could lead another clue. And I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, it's not really failed potential. It's just like ideas that we have that could have happened. I mean, they made the film they wanted to, even though it's as basic as bland as it is. But still, like the potential was there if they went for the taking. And
Yeah.
it's just us, talking about it. It's just like, yeah, you could have done this and could have done that. I mean, it's no fault on theirs because they didn't think of the ideas. You know.
Well, I don't think there's anything left to talk about now.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, as Ian mentioned, like it's fairly an introductory film in a way, as Ian mentioned. But like I said, like it's like a Christmas scream. Like it has the same vibe, and all those other slasher films are again, as I've mentioned for the 10th time in a row, people come to a place, secrets are revealed, a character from the past gets introduced for reasons unbeknownst to the characters involved. People are butting heads, red herrings, even though this one's fairly obvious, and secrets are revealed until the big reveal, which is like a wet fart. But it is what it's basic and bland and mediocre, and it's perfectly average in my book. It's right down the middle, in my because I've seen so many films like that. And I'm not going to name anymore. I've named enough. So again, it's relegated to mediocrity in my opinion. And again, The Mask was okay. They could have done so much more with the idea, but it's basic slasher 101. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna have one of those that's just gonna be, again, it's not the worst of the marathon yet. I mean, oh boy, um, it's hard to top anything prior, especially that one.
Yes.
But we have one more in store before we end 2024. So, Ian, you got any final thoughts before we call this episode a close?
No, I think we covered everything and more.
All right. So with that, I will say thanks everyone for listening. We hope you had an enjoyable Christmas and holiday celebration, and hopefully you'll be able to join us back next week as we end our Christmas Murderland marathon with who knows what film, but that's for off-air moments. So Ian, as always, it's great talking with you, and we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night.